It was supposed to be another night of laughter, satire, and sharp political wit, but what began as a typical late-night comedy segment took an unexpected and deeply emotional turn that left both the audience and millions of viewers speechless. Stephen Colbert, known for his razor-sharp humor and fearlessness in tackling powerful figures, opened his show with a light jab at independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a moment that seemed harmless until it wasn't. As the crowd roared with laughter, Colbert launched into a satirical bit poking fun at Kennedy's controversial campaign statements. His delivery was classic Colbert, quick, biting, and confident. But as the laughter began to fade, the camera cut to a surprising guest on the screen, John F. Kennedy Jr., live via video feed, appearing unexpectedly calm yet clearly emotional. What happened next would leave the room in stunned silence. "Stephen," John began quietly, his voice steady but filled with a weight that immediately shifted the mood. "It's easy to mock anemia, but it's harder to understand the history behind it." The laughter died instantly. Colbert froze, visibly unsure how to respond. What followed wasn't anger or confrontation, it was a heartfelt, deeply human conversation that peeled back the layers of performance, politics, and pain. John spoke not as a politician's relative, but as a man tired of watching history's way turn into a punchline. He spoke about legacy, about what it feels like to grow up with a name that carries both greatness and grief. "You joke about us," he said, "but you don't know what it's like to lose a father to violence, to lose an uncle to the same fate, and then to watch the ideals they died for become sound bites." His words echoed across the silent studio. Colbert's trademark grin was gone. For perhaps the first time on his show, he looked deeply humble, even heartbroken. Viewers could sense something extraordinary unfolding, and not a clash of egos, but a collision of truths. Colbert, known for controlling every second of his live program, leaned forward and simply said, "John, I didn't mean to diminish that pain. Maybe I forgot what it's like to feel it." The exchange that followed became one of the most raw and emotional moments in late-night television history. Instead of moving to the next segment, Colbert turned off his cue cards and invited John to speak freely. The two men, one a comedian, one a bearer of a storied American legacy, discussed loss, legacy, and laughter. How humor can heal, but also hurt. How the media, in trying to entertain, sometimes forgets to empathize. As the segment drew to a close, John looked directly into the camera and said, "We can joke about our leaders. We should, but we can't forget the people behind the name, as are the families, the pain, the humanity. If we do, we lose what makes us American." The studio was completely still. Then, in a moment that would make headlines the next morning, Colbert removed his earpiece, stood up from behind the desk, and announced, "That's it. That's the show tonight. I don't have anything else to add. Thank you, John." And just like that, he ended the broadcast. No music, no applause, just silence. Within hours, clips of the exchange flooded social media. Hashtags like #ColbertMoment and #JohnFlipsTheScript trended worldwide. Viewers described it as one of the most powerful moments they'd ever seen on live television, a moment where entertainment met empathy, and humor met history. In the days that followed, both the men released statements. Colbert admitted that the conversation had changed him. "Sometimes we get so busy making people laugh that we forget to make them think." "That night, I learned to do both again." John's statement was equally poignant. It wasn't about winning an argument, it was about reminding people that laughter and respect can coexist. For many, the incident became more than a viral clip. It became a symbol, a reminder that in a time of division, even a comedic confrontation can turn into a moment of unity. Two men from very different worlds found common ground in the most unexpected way, through honesty. The show returned the next week, but viewers noticed something different. The laughter was still there, but it carried more meaning. Colbert began dedicating short segments to conversations, real conversations about empathy, understanding, and listening, no matter how uncomfortable it gets. That night when John flipped the script, he didn't just change the tone of a talk show, he reignited something we all forget too easily in a world addicted to ridicule: compassion. And as millions watched that unplanned, unscripted ending, They were reminded of a truth far greater than any headline or punchline. Sometimes, the most powerful show of strength isn't found in mocking others, but in daring to feel.